To mount the dropper, you can reuse the bolt and one of the nuts from the original Lee case feeder. This is a 1/4 20 by 3½ inch bolt. The max length is 4 inches. Insert the nut in the base. And put the bottom bushing onto the bolt. Insert the bolt and bushing through the bottom of the case feed hole on the press. Put the base over the bolt with the nut facing towards the back. For maximum case clearance, aim the chamfered edge of the bottom bushing to the front. Tighten the bolt by hand, and attach the case dropper. Raise the carrier, and align the dropper assembly against the case feed ramp on the press. Tighten the bolt just enough to keep the base from rotating. From finger tight, this should be about 1/4 to a 1/2 turn. If you have the handle in the default position, it needs to be adjusted to avoid collision with the dropper. The easiest adjustment is to lower the handle. Another way is to rotate the lever clamp to the next position. This will make the handle stop further out at the top and further down at the bottom. If you're not priming on the press, you can rotate the handle to the other side. You can also turn the lever clamp around for even more mounting options. The goal is to drop the cases as close to the top of stroke as possible. If a case is dropped below the dropper opening, before reaching the top of stroke, it must not be allowed to reach the dropper opening again. If the case shifts, it may impact the lever and damage the dropper assembly. However, if a case is dropped while the top of the case is still inside the dropper opening, it will simply slide inside the dropper and not cause damage. It is also important not to short stroke the press, as this might cause a case to impact the dropper body. The base is marked with the suggested height setting for popular cartridge cases. These include 9 by 19 mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 45 ACP, 38 Special, 357 Magnum, 44 Magnum, 223 Remington and 308 Winchester. To use these markings, the top of the dropper should line up with the line under the case you are adjusting for, and the number should be visible above the flat part of the dropper body. To manually adjust to a new case, start by removing the retainer and dropper body from the base. Raise the carrier and place a cartridge case in front of the case slider. Hold the dropper next to the case to find the correct height. Most straight-walled cases should be dropped below the dropper opening. Bottleneck cases should have the case neck still inside the dropper when they are dropped. This will prevent cases from tumbling. When you have found the correct height, lower the carrier and attach the case dropper to the base. Make sure that the dropper is level. It should only have a slight resistance when sliding onto the base. Retract the trigger, and load the dropper with a case. Raise the carrier. If there is room for the case slider riser, it should now be put on. Lower the trigger until the case is dropped. If you can't find the sweet spot with the trigger, you can flip it around as the notches on either side are offset. Test your setting with a few cases and adjust if necessary. When you have the dropper dialed in, the retainer should be mounted to lock everything in place. For small diameter cases like 9 by 19 and 223 Remington, it is recommended to attach the case slider in the innermost position. For larger diameter cases like 45 ACP and 308 Winchester, the outermost position is recommended. And always make sure that any combination of dropper height, case slider height and trigger stick out is within a safe range. Operating the press with wrong settings can damage the dropper or the press.